Hello, I'm Hannah Martin from Talent Studies Club, and this is a video you need to watch if you're not getting the results you want from Twitter. Now, Twitter is, like most social media platforms, really easy when you understand how it works. But if you don't understand how it works, it can seem really difficult and really frustrating when you don't get the results you want, when you're spending time on there and you're doing things that you think people should like, but you're not getting retweets, you're not getting engagement, you're not getting followers, and you're not getting the sales you were hoping to get from it. And I know exactly how that feels because that was me when we first started TLC. I was terrible at Twitter in the beginning. I really didn't understand it. It was like going to a foreign country and everyone's talking really fast and you can't understand a word they're saying and you just don't get it. And not only that, but you can't see how anyone gets it. I mean, the timeline moves so fast. How do you join a conversation? It just seemed to be a lot of unintelligible nonsense to me. And I couldn't get any retweets and people weren't following us. So I did something that I've continued to do all the time on business. I invested in Twitter coaching. So I hired a Twitter coach. She explained in just two 1-hour phone calls, how I should be using Twitter. And it was like going from never speaking a language before to suddenly being fluent. I got it. I went on Twitter, I understood how things worked. But more importantly, I understood how to act on Twitter to get the things I wanted out of it, the things that would help my business. And I went from finding Twitter really frustrating to loving it. And Twitter loved me back. So in the first year that TLC was around, so we were a startup, remember, we might seem really big to you today, you might seem like we've got a huge following, but that wasn't the case when we started. In fact, I think we had about 40 followers when we first started on Twitter. And we didn't have lots of people reading our blog, our website. We had probably about 200 people a week initially, and they were family and friends. And we now have 82,000 people every month reading our site. We've grown that over time, and Twitter's been part of that. So Twitter was really good to us in the beginning. Like I said, we had 11,000 followers we acquired in the first year from scratch, using a system we developed. So as I promised, I'm going to share with you now 5 things that you can do that can help you get better results with Twitter. Now, some of these you might be doing, but if you're not doing them or any of them, then this might be why you're not getting the engagement you want. So let's go straight in to my tip number 1. And that is really simple. And it's follow people. Because all too often, and I know I was when I first went on Twitter, we could be quite passive and we can wonder why people aren't following us. But it's like anything in life. If you want it, then you have to go out and get it first. You have to follow people first because some of them will follow you back. And then if you follow them, they can notice you and you can start engaging with them. But really clear about the people you are following. Don't just follow anybody, because building Twitter following isn't a vanity project. I mean, you could have 100,000 followers, but if they're not your ideal customers, if they're not people that you actually need to engage with you to get the business or career results you want, then they're pointless. So for example, the example I always give is you've got a cafe in Manchester and you want obviously local people because they're the ones that are going to come and eat and drink in your cafe. And you have 10,000 followers in Sydney, Australia, who are never going to come to the UK and don't know anyone in Manchester to talk to you about. Those 10 followers are worth nothing. It's far better to have 100 followers of people in your local area who love your food, because those people are likely to come in, they like to talk about you and recommend you to other local people as well. So it's not just following anybody, but be proactive and follow people that are useful to you. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is, this is something that I realised really quickly, and it's 2 words I remembered and I kept front of mind every single thing that I did on Twitter, and that was interesting and useful. So I was always really aware of who I wanted to follow us on Twitter and what they wanted from us, and therefore from us on Twitter. And I made sure that everything I did on Twitter was either interesting or useful, or preferably both, to those people. So I wouldn't just tweet about random stuff that had nothing to do with those people and the things they cared about in relation to our website. I made sure that I tweeted about things that they would care about, they would want to talk about, that connected with what we did. And that enabled us to grow very quickly and to build a reputation of being an account to follow, because I really kept their needs and their wishes really core at the heart of everything that I did. Tip number 3 is know how Twitter will help you. And that means having a plan. Because if you go onto Twitter without any idea what you're doing or why, again, that's where we get these vanity accounts. That's when you end up with 10,000 followers in Sydney, Australia, when you've got a cafe in Manchester. Because if you're not really clear about what you want from Twitter, your time on it is wasted. You might as well just go and sit and read a magazine in the garden, or go and do some cooking, or anything, than be on Twitter. Because if you're not aware of why you're on there, you're not going to be doing actions that are aligned to benefits. So either you're just going to get nowhere because you're just tweeting randomly to random people, so you're not building any momentum on there, you're not getting that snowball effect, or you're building an account that is popular but with the wrong people for the wrong reasons, and actually it never benefits you for the way you need it to. So be really clear about why you're on Twitter and what Twitter is going to give you, and create a plan around that so you can make sure that everything you do on there is in alignment with your goals. Tip number 4. Yeah, it's all about engagement, that word, okay? So yes, by all means, schedule stuff on Twitter so that you are tweeting when you're not on there, because actually no one can be on there 24 hours a day, but you need a regular Twitter presence. So absolutely schedule, but don't let your account be so automated that you're not a human being, that you're not building up real relationships with people, because relationships are built on engagement. Followers are built on engagement. Sales are built on engagement. So you have to have that mix of automation and live tweeting, connecting with people, talking to people, having those relationships with people. And it's really easy on Twitter. I love Twitter. It's probably my favourite social platform because of the conversation on it. In effect, it is the platform where it's most easy to have a conversation with people, because tweets are just different lines that you're exchanging with each other. And a lot of the business relationships I've had today, some of whom have gone on to be friends in real life, have to be developed over Twitter. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be human and engaging just like you are in real life. It's a social channel. After all, the key is in the word social. So just because you're on there for your business or your career or your freelance work or whatever you're on there, don't forget that you are a human being talking to another human being. Even if it's B2B, you are a human being tweeting to another human. And if you remember that and have that human connection and engage in a human way, you'll build an account much more quickly than you will do if it's too robotic and all automated. And my final tip sounds really simple, but it's so important. And again, this is one of the reasons why we've been so successful, and that is consistency. If you don't go and spend 5 hours on Monday tweeting and then don't go on it for another month, because yeah, you'll whip up loads of engagement in those 5 hours, but then if you just disappear, then you're going to lose everything you've benefited from that engagement. So it's not about short bursts of enthusiasm, and like, you don't say, I'm going to do Twitter this week, I'm going to make Twitter my priority, and then next week I'm going to do Facebook, and then I'm going to do Instagram. It doesn't work like that. You can't put stuff into it and then go away. You have to be there every single day, being consistent. And that's why you need to have a realistic plan from the outset. You need to understand how much time you can actually spend on it every day, every week, so that you start out how you mean to go on. And then you do it every day. If it is realistic, you'll do it. You have to be consistent in the amount of time you spend on it, the type of tweets you're sharing on it, the regularity of your tweets. All these things matter. Even joining Twitter hours, chat hours. You can dip in once to a chat hour and never come back, but you're not going to build a relationship. Like anything, it is turning up every week. If you go to a chat hour, that people will start to know you, they will start to like you and trust you, and they will start to recommend you and buy from you and retweet you and engage with you. You have to have that consistency if you really want to see results. So if you're dipping in and out and you're not getting results, that's why you're not building that consistency. So people see you around, they get to know you, they get to like you and trust you, and all of those things that are really important in sales. So there you go. 5 really simple things. So to recap, follow people, be interesting and useful, know how Twitter will help you and have a plan, engage with people, and be consistent. So there's 5 really simple things, but actually those 5 things are all really, really powerful, and done together, they can have a huge effect on the Twitter account. And a quick mention, if you do need more help with Twitter, we do have a Twitter course. It's called Twitter Tune Up, and we take you through how to use Twitter properly, from setting your profile up correctly to creating a strategy, doing all the things we talked about in great depth. And we teach you the system we use on Twitter. So we have always spent half an hour a day. It's all we spend on there. And that's how we've grown our account and how we still grow our account today. And we teach you that strategy. So if you do need more help on Twitter, have a look below, and I'll put the link under this video. And then we'll show you how you can get much better results from Twitter. So I hope that's helpful. And please do enjoy Twitter and do try those 5 tips.